Hello YouTube, and thank you for clicking on this video. In late September, following the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, there was a renewed conversation in the political realm about the lifetime appointments of our Supreme Court justices. Now, according to a recent article published by Jesse Rifkin, who is a staff writer for GovTrack.us, he wrote that in the past 44 years, Republicans have held the White House for 24 of those years, versus the Democrats who've only held the White House for 20 years. On the surface, it may not seem like a big deal because there's only one presidential term separating both of the parties. However, when you really take time to look at it, during that same period, Republican presidents have confirmed 12 Supreme Court justices versus the Democrats who've only confirmed 4. Now, the current laws regarding nominating and selecting Supreme Court justices are not entirely consistent with the shifts regarding social policies in America. Now, in an attempt to address this discrepancy, Representative Khanna introduced H.R. 8424, which is titled Supreme Court Term Limits and Regular Appointments Act of 2020. So let's take a closer look at what is inside this bill. To begin, this bill is not bipartisan. There have been no Republican co-sponsors to this House bill. Now, this bill would focus on several different reforms to change the existing process for selecting our Supreme Court justices. As we take a closer look at this bill, the existing 9 justices would be grandfathered into the bill, and therefore not subject to the bill's requirement. Now, moving on from this starting point, a justice would be nominated by the president, regardless of political party, every 2 years. Specifically, this would occur during the odd-numbered years, or the first and third year of a president's term. This bill would allow every president to nominate 2 Supreme Court justices during their respective term. As usual, the U.S. Senate would hold a vote to confirm or deny the nomination. If confirmed by the Senate, those new justices would serve for 18 years. If the Senate refuses, however, to hold a yes or no vote within 120 days of the president's nomination, as was the case when the Senate Republicans intentionally chose to withhold a vote for almost a year during the last year of President Barack Obama's term, then that justice would automatically be seated on the court. This bill, in essence, forces the senators to be on record with a yes or no vote for a Supreme Court justice. In the event that a justice would die during their term, the most recent retired justice would temporarily fill the vacancy until the next opportunity becomes available by this law for the president to offer a nomination to the court. Now, supporters of this bill say that this law would add a level of predictability to the judicial branch without adding to the political divide in the country. In other words, our country would not become divided every time a Supreme Court justice vacancy becomes available. The current Chief Justice, John Roberts, appointed by conservative President George W. Bush, wrote a memo on term limits in 1983 when he was an assistant to the White House counsel under President Ronald Reagan. And Chief Justice Roberts said at that time, setting a term of, say, 15 years would ensure that federal judges would not lose all touch with reality through decades of ivory tower existence. He continued on saying, it would also provide a more regular and greater degree of turnover among the judges. Now, Representative Khanna, who authored this bill and is pictured, as you can see here, stated that no justice should feel the weight of an entire country on their shoulders. No president should be able to shift the ideology of our highest judicial body by mere chance. He also continued saying, most importantly, our country's top constitutional questions shouldn't be decided by a panel of jurists who are biding their time until a president of their choice is elected. It's time to standardize and democratize the Supreme Court. Now, on the opposite effect, opponents of this bill argue that lifetime tenure serves a purpose by insulating the Supreme Court from political pressures. Erwin Chemerinsky, the law school dean at UC Berkeley, who has called for Democrats to add 4 members to the court, said, I am sympathetic and support term limits, but I think it would be unconstitutional, he says. He continued saying, the core function of being a Supreme Court justice, hearing and deciding cases on the Supreme Court, would be taken away. I read Article 3 of the Constitution as saying that justices on the Supreme Court have their positions for life. End quote. Now, there are many who believe a bill like this is not sufficient to address the problems at hand, but rather a constitutional amendment is the only true path to see a reduction in the political partisanship of the Supreme Court. This bill, while it's still in its infancy phase, currently awaits debate in the House Judiciary Committee. So with that, comment below if you would like or dislike this bill, and feel free to like the video or subscribe to the channel if you would like to help me tap into that YouTube algorithm to make sure that other people can see what we're trying to accomplish by promoting these bills on this channel. And until next time, YouTube, be well.